Hi everybody. I'm going to do a video that was requested to me. Chiron conjunct the moon. I'm kind of a Chiron person. I am very interested in Chiron. And I seem to attract a lot of Chiron heavy placements in people around me. So I've observed a lot of major Chiron placements. So Chiron conjunct the moon. I actually made a video about this and it got deleted a while ago. So I'm glad someone asked me to remake it. So Chiron is symbolized by a key. It is an asteroid. It's the story of Chiron is a young woman who was abandoned by her father. But ultimately it represents a wound in astrology, and it's called the wounded healer because with Chiron, the pain of Chiron never really goes away. The reason it's like a key is because you'll have early years in your life before you consciously are inflicted with the Chiron wound. And then when that key turns, it's like suddenly there and like you become aware of it and it never fully goes away. But because of that, we develop and evolve wherever Chiron is in our charts, we evolve and we alchemize consistently out of necessity because it hurts. All right, and the moon is our inner world, it's our emotions, it's ruled by the mother. It's the emotional part of your psyche. And so with Chiron conjunct the moon, there's this lack of feeling safe in your environment, where it's like something so minor could make you just feel insecure. And it manifests differently for different people, like based on the houses. For some people, it's more of like an actual anxiety of not feeling safe, like being paranoid that they're in danger. And for other people, it can be more of a social anxiety. For some people, it can feel like you just have to work 1,000 times harder than everyone else to like accomplish things. It's just so crazy how many people I've personally met and interacted with that have this placement. And it has manifested in several ways in my experiences with them. So several times I've noticed that it can be like this inner pain manifests in self-loathing in some capacity. So like you can see people with substance issues or like eating disorders and like self-destructive behaviors. 'Cause like the moon being such it's a personal planet, right? But it's like, it's almost like the most personal planet. Like it's really how you feel on the inside. So if there's pain affiliated with that, it can manifest in that way. A lot of like classic scenario, like Chiron moon aspects are going to be like mother wounds. And I've seen different people, like, for example, this is crazy, but like I was watching Ultimatum on Netflix, the queer one with all of the like gay women and queer people. And I was like looking at people's birth charts on it, and a large number of them, like disproportionately, I think there were 3 people in that show that had Chiron conjunct the moon. I think that's so fascinating because it's like if you have a straight mom and that's your role model to be a woman, or like who you're supposed to fit into being, and you're gay, like there's kind of like a disconnect, and it can manifest as like a mother wound. So I found that really interesting. My ex's sister was gay, and she had her Chiron conjunct the moon, and the way that it manifested for her was in a lot of anger. I think just being in such a state of kind of inner pain and not feeling a lot of belonging and safety in your close childhood environment when you're younger can be really frustrating, and it can definitely manifest as anger if you're not someone who's able to go inward and begin the process of looking at your wounds, alchemizing them, and making peace with them. But so many of us, well, everyone is really innately capable of doing that. And for those who have this placement, who are a bit more on the healer's journey and a bit more self-aware, these are people who become like deeply, deeply wise and very selfless, which I want to put like a little asterisk by selfless, because that's been really highly glorified, and sometimes to people's detriment that they should be selfless. I think it's good to have a really strong sense of self and then like give in the moments where you're genuinely called to give. But that being said, it's like with this placement, you just develop a natural sense of compassion. And it can be important to know how to have energetic boundaries, because sometimes that ability to empathize with people's pain that this will provide people is like a resource that maybe people sense and want to take advantage of. You can be in situations where it can end up being a little bit codependent, because it's really natural for these people to do like caregiving and just the work of someone who's an empath. But on that same note, like, because this is how your soul has manifested to have this placement, then it is really a part of who you are, and it is really healthy, and it can be very healing to provide emotional nurturance to people around you, because it almost gives you that lesson of how to emotionally nurture yourself. I've noticed that like that can be really symbiotic. This is so crazy, but like with my ex's sister, my ex was a quadriplegic and he needed assistance with things, such as just like running errands and lots of different small things like throughout the day. And his sister would often be the one who would provide help for him, and like they just got along and like wanted to hang out and everything like that. But it was just cool that within their family there was someone who seemed to really gain a sense of like grounding, from just physically providing for my ex's needs. So yeah, that can really ground you, and because sometimes like when your nervous system is fried, with which can happen with this placement, like that inner pain and like not feeling of lack of safety, it can just manifest as like your nervous system being activated and overwhelmed. So having practices to nurturing practices of any capacity are going to be like really, really grounding for these people. So, you know, like I said, that was really healthy for her to be able to provide care to my ex. And, like, last but not least, like, really, really, really learn how to nurture yourself, nurture your emotions. I think it will probably be an uncomfortable place to go, but having a practice of turning inward and honoring and acknowledging your pain so that it can be felt and so that it can be released, that's the process of alchemizing this Chiron wound. And that's how you turn it from being something that you're constantly wanting to escape to making your vulnerability your greatest strength. Your greatest vulnerability can always be your greatest strength. So turning it into a deep, profound skill set you have, as a healer, because that's what it is. It's the wounded healer. So you will likely be that person that people feel safe confiding in, and yeah, you absolutely have the capacity to become that person, I will say. But Also, there are scenarios where it, for whatever reason, will manifest in lower ways, and like people who hurt people, I mean, it's this saying, hurt people hurt people. So sometimes people like that can be have a lot of issues and maybe even leaning towards abusive tendencies. Um, yeah, I see that with Chiron stuff. I see that with Chiron stuff for sure. But for the most part, I think, yeah, grounding yourself in nurturing practices and also just genuinely developing an understanding around energetic boundaries, that like you need to do breath work and learn how to ground, because you probably have a nervous system that is being very activated from your own feelings of unsafety and from your natural empathy that will probably pick up on stuff around you. So learn how to protect yourself. Take time alone. Take time learning how to feel good in your own body, away from other people, before immersing yourself in environments that are just going to constantly keep flooding your nervous system, because that's just not sustainable. So, yeah, I really hope this is helpful for people. It's always good to look at your whole birth chart. So, if you're wanting more help understanding your placements, then feel free to reach out. I am so in love with astrology. It's so fun whenever people want me to look at their personal charts. I can also do relationship astrology, and I can also do astrocartography and tell you about where you're located and how that is affecting your energy as well. So, yeah, hope this helps someone, and have a good day.